This video is going to cover an extension of what we learned in our last video on simplifying expressions, where now we're going to talk about multiplying two rational expressions together. And you guys already know how to do this. You've seen it all the time in problems like where you multiply fractions. This is a rational expression right here. This is a rational expression right here, and we are multiplying them together. So you guys already kind of have an idea of how this is going to work out. When you multiply fractions, remember, you just multiply the top numbers and you multiply the bottom. So you would end up in this problem with 8 over 15. So all you're going to do here is multiply straight across. Now, after you get your answer, you are going to make sure nothing simplifies. Like you would have to check and make sure you can't reduce this or something, and you can't, so we can just stop right there on this particular problem. Now on our next one here, again, we have two fractions. They're being multiplied together. The only difference is now we have variables in our fraction. Now, we're going to multiply the top parts, and we're going to multiply the bottom parts. But if you recall, what we usually end up doing after we get done with our answer, like in the last video, we have to go do magic numbers then and factor it. And that's going to be kind of a pain to do. So while you may think, hey, I should do FOIL on the top part and I should do FOIL on the bottom, and it wouldn't be wrong, it's actually easier if you leave them just next to each other, and you'll see why in just a second. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply straight across, but instead of doing FOIL and multiplying them together, I'm just going to leave them side by side. When I do that, you'll notice, oh wow, there's an x minus 7 on the top and bottom that I can cancel out. So my final answer here would be the x plus 3 over the 3x plus 2, and there's nothing else that can be done in terms of simplifying this right here. Our excluded values in this problem would be x can't equal positive 7, because then this parenthesis over here would equal 0. And also, x can't equal, if you set this guy equal to 0 and solve, you get negative 2/3. So x can't be 7, and x can't be negative 2/3. To save ourselves a little bit of time on this problem, what we could have done instead of writing it out, as long as you see one on the top and one on the bottom, you know they're going to cancel eventually. So I saw, okay, this guy's up here, this guy's down here, there's one in the numerator and one in the denominator. I could have just crossed them off at this step and not even had to worry about it, just gotten this over this, and you see that you do get the same results. One more in this video, and when you see something like this, again, you are more than welcome to multiply this all out and then try to factor it again afterwards, but that's just going to be terrible. Doing FOIL on something like this times this is just going to be a mess in of itself, and then you have to try to factor it later. It's just not worth your time. When you see these kind of problems and you're asked to simplify, I would just factor everything you can right off the bat. So doing magic numbers on this top guy, for example, I'm feeling like you guys are pretty confident in your magic numbers ability. I won't go through the steps here. You'll get x plus 2 times x plus 1 for this guy. This one down here I can take a 4 out of, so I get 4, and then I get x plus 2 in parentheses. This guy over here, it's a 2, and then it's an x minus 5 in parentheses if I factor that. And if I do magic numbers in this guy, I believe I'm going to get x plus 1 times x minus 7. So I skipped all the showing the work on the factoring, but I think you guys are pretty good on that by this point. You can see there's a bunch of pieces right here. What I'm going to do now, instead of writing it all out like in that problem, I'm just going to start crossing out things that I know will cancel out. And it looks like we have an x plus 2 down here and over there, so those are going to cancel out. I have an x plus 1 here and here, so one's on the top, one's on the bottom. Those can cancel. Even though they're different fractions, eventually they're going to be just one big fraction top and bottom, so I'm going to slash those out. And x minus 5, x minus 7, there's nothing I can do about that. I do have a 2 on top and a 4 on the bottom that I can reduce. I'll make that a 1 over 2. So, cleaning up everything now and just writing it as a final answer, the only thing left up top appears to be x minus 5. And on the bottom I have that 2 from when I reduced 2 over 4. And then I have x minus 7 right here. So I could distribute that back in, but I think this is a totally fine answer right there. Just a matter of giving my excluded values now, and looking at this, going through before I crossed everything out. X can't be negative 2, because that would make this parenthesis 0. It can't be negative 1, because that would make this parenthesis 0, and it can't be positive 7 either. So those are my excluded values.